Hello everybody and welcome to an Elder Scrolls Online video with me, Sherman. Today we're going to be talking about the patch notes that just went live for featuring Homestead. They didn't just go live, but they did go live about 4 o'clock this morning. So let's go ahead and start going over these. Now I'm not going to go over every single detail of the patch notes, just the things that seem prevalent to the information that most people are going to be looking for and things like that. So let's just start up the top here. Welcome to the Elder Scrolls Online 2.7.5 featuring Homestead. I've been waiting for this for a long time, guys. So this feature, this free update introduces our players' housing system with 39 uniquely themed homes that you can acquire throughout Tamriel, with over 2,000 individual decorative and furniture options, plus furniture crafting. So this is kind of cool. We are getting furniture crafting with this. A lot of people already know a lot of this stuff because these were already released before, but they weren't as focused as they are now with the confirmed patch notes, because the PTS doesn't always have confirmed patch notes until after everything's said and done. And these are 100% confirmed because the patch is dropping as I'm speaking right now. This update is going to be 3.36 gigs, so it's going to be fairly big for a patch of this kind. No offense, but that is pretty big. We're also adding master crafting writs for 4 new motives and updated several sources of itemization in Cyrodiil and the Imperial City, all of which are detailed below. So they did do a lot of things. They also did some class balance and some skills. We'll get to those, but let's just go through the basics of the Homestead update. So Homestead basics: acquiring a home, home previewing, housing editor, home decorations, specialty furnishings, furnishing sourcing, furnishing crafting, housing permissions, housing achievements, and list of homes. And we'll go through all this stuff, just kind of going through the general information. We're not going to be going through a lot of different things. Now, they did fix a lot of known issues, it looks like, and now we're into the Homestead stuff. So with this Homestead basics thing, they talk about how you can get a lot of these things. You may own one of every home, all the way up to all 39 available at launch. Homes are shared across all characters on your account, and the homes are split into several tiers by size. So there's 3 inn rooms, 1 for each alliance. There's 3 apartments, 1 for each alliance. There's 10 small houses, 1 for each of the 10 playable races. The medium houses, 1 for, of course, 10 playable races, and so on and so forth, until you get to the 3 manors, and there's only 1 for each alliance, and they're pretty big from what I remember from PTS. They're a lot bigger than a lot of these other ones. They are huge, in fact. Home ownership is tracked in the new housing tab in the collections window. This display is any of your homes you haven't yet acquired, and allows you to preview them, which you can read about below. So you can preview houses before you purchase them, which will allow you to go and see them and look at their layouts and stuff before you decide. All 36 of the apartments, homes, and manors can all be purchased with either gold, as long as the achievement prerequisites are met, or crowns. So I'm pretty sure the achievement prerequisites, if I remember right, are you have to complete certain quests and stuff like that in certain areas of the game to be able to purchase the homes for that stuff. So once obtained, a home is yours forever. There is no rent to pay or any form of ongoing maintenance. So once you purchase these, they're yours. You own them. Homes have a limited number of items, and collectibles, and visitors that may be present, with a larger homes having higher caps. The number of objects you can place is doubled for those with an active ESO Plus membership. So if you are a subscriber, you do get double the amount of of objects in your home, which is another benefit. And if in the event of your membership lapsing, you can only place you can't place any more items, but any items you take away will just decrease the amount you can have in there in total, so until you get your account active again. Dueling is allowed in homes, but it is disabled in inn rooms and apartments, which is a good thing, because that would create a lot of lag. Pets, assistants, and mounts cannot be summoned inside a home, but can be placed inside homes as decoration. Once placed, assistants can be used as normal. So if you place any of those things in your house, you can pull them out later. How to acquire a home: open the Crown Store and explore the housing tab. You can purchase most homes from the Crown Store. You can also purchase them with gold. Find the Canthian The Canthian, the housing broker, to acquire a quest that grants you a free in-room. So this one is, there's one in Daggerfall, Davon's Watch, and Volkal Guard. Depending on your alliance, if you want the free room, highly recommended. Talk to him and he will bestow the quest on you, so you can get your free in-room in those cities. And you have to be a person from that faction to get the free in-room. So if you don't have a person from each faction, you'll have to purchase the other two. Or you'll have to purchase one or whatever, but you can get them all. Completion of the quest rewards you a small in-room located in the zone associated with your alliance. Afterwards, you may purchase other in-rooms for a normal fee and can repeat the quest on other characters in a different alliance to acquire the other rooms. Find homes scattered across Tamariel. Making sure you have completed any prerequisites and purchase them for in-game gold. First, you must find the home in-game, click on the door, and follow the purchasing instructions. Most homes require you to complete certain prerequisites before you can purchase for gold. So as I said, you have to do certain things to unlock these. You must own the Imperial Edition to own the Imperial homes. Homes can be purchased for crowns or at any time, bypassing any of the above requirements. So you can preview the homes. Also, unfurnished homes may be purchased with gold crowns and generally come with a small number of items such as plants and rocks if the home has a yard and candles to light the interior of the home. So that's kind of cool that it does come with that. Furnished homes may only be purchased with crowns. Each furnished home is pre-decorated with a tasteful selection of items which are yours to keep or adjust at your leisure. So that's a benefit. If you purchased a furnished home through the crowns, you can actually get items with it. You may switch between unfurnished and furnished preview at any time, and the preview will adjust on the fly accordingly. Once you make the purchase, you will automatically load into your new home, and you can start editing it immediately. The housing editor, which is kind of neat, it allows you to place, the place tab allows you to place furniture and collectibles from a categorized list of available options. The purchase tab contains a large list of furnishings available for an a la carte crown purchase. In addition to directly selecting any placed items in the editor mode, you can also retrieve placed furniture from a list of placed items in the retrieve tab of the editor without needing to look at the home. So you can place and pull items out, like place them and then re-pull them without going and grabbing the item directly. You can go through a list of items and pull it out. I'm glad they added that. That's something that they had in another game I played called EverQuest 2, and it allows you to do that. That was really good. Addition, home decorations. Furnishings are a new kind of inventory item that may be placed in a home and can be identified by the word furnishing on their tooltip. These function like any other inventory item until it is time to place it in a home. That might be a bad idea. But that's okay, because I don't mind. Special furnishings. Many types of houses, objects have additional functionality when placed, including the following: assistants, light sources, seating, target skeletons, guild reprints of Shalador's library, standard crafting stations, attunable crafting stations, and unique objects. So you can get crafting stations. You have to go see a guy and trade in RIT vouchers to get them, or I think you can buy them from the Crown store. This will allow you to craft in your home, so you don't have to go to a town or something. You just return to your home and do that. As for this other stuff, the Shalador's library, the target skeleton, which is a really beneficial thing for those who want to test their DPS. I mean, or I should say your damage per hit. You can get that, and you can purchase it with from this Rollis Hollow guy in the Mastercraft Mediator in each alliance capital in exchange for RIT vouchers. So it looks like it's as powerful as the boss and veteran Spindle Clutch 2 Bloodspawn. And then there's another one you can get that it has robust on it, which it makes it twice as healthy. So that's kind of cool. And that's for the target skeletons. Shallow door, each reprint and contains individual bottles, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Attunable crafting stations can be purchased from Rawless Hollow, the Mastercraft Mediator, in exchange for writ vouchers. These items can be activated at any set crafting site in the world, permanently attuning them to the station of unique energies. So this one allows you to attune them to any crafting site in the game, so you can craft those sets in your home. That's kind of cool. And then there, of course, there's unique objects as well, from dark anchor pinions that open and close, and decoy elder scrolls that swap between offensive and defensive visuals, all with their own unique interactions and effects. Okay. Furniture sourcing. Home furnishing can be found from a number of sources, including furniture crafting, luxury furnishers. New NPCs in Eltheron can be found in the Hollow City within Cold Harbor over the weekend, and has a cycling inventory similar to such and such in Golden and Cereal. Look for her inside the food and general store when he sets up shop. He's on his way to Cold Harbor now, and is scheduled to make his first appearance over the weekend on February 24th. Okay, that seems really odd, because it's February 6th now. So we have to wait until February 24th before we can go buy this furnishers here. Achievement furnishers. Some of the items gated by a specific achievement or accomplishment and is themed to the requirement. Completing the requirements listed on the item will allow you to purchase copies of the item for gold or AP. These can be found throughout Tamriel, including in Cyrodiil, and offer rewards for various heroic deeds in the individual. In addition, several pre-existing merchants will offer achievement furnishings related to their specialities. That's kind of cool. Each item is buy now pickup. Excuse me, guys. Home's good furniture. There is a person that you can buy some basic, I guess, home commodities from at your local plant and nature stones from the region they are located in. And it looks like there's somebody in each capital. So, purchasing tab in the housing editor. Undaunted busts, fishing, shadowy supplier. Like I said, guys, I'm just kind of going through giving you guys general ideas. Furniture crafting. Now, this is what I'm really interested in, because now you can craft furnishings for your home, your friends, or to sell to others. To craft the furnishings, you will need to obtain specific furnishing plans, similar to the way existing provisioning recipes work. All trade skill disciplines now have a new tab to their respective stations for furniture plans. Each trade skill has a unique type of plan and primarily uses a new type of material. Woodworking blueprints primarily use heartwood from lumber nodes. Blacksmithing diagrams usually use regulus from ore nodes, and clothing patterns primarily use baths from fibrous plants or clean pelts from beasts and other sources of leather. Alchemy formulas primarily use resin, mundane runes, and decorative wax. Okay. Plans can be found in containers across the world, purchased from certain merchants, dropped from certain monsters, or even obtained from pickpocketing or murdering Tamrielic citizens. High-quality plans will require knowledge of multiple trade skills. An elaborate canopy bed requires rank 9 in the passive skill, woodworking, rank 7 in tailoring, and rank 3 in metalworking. Okay. So it looks like we're going to have a lot of different skills maxed out in order to craft pretty much all the furnishings. So if you have a master crafter, it's going to be more beneficial to you than it is going to be to a lot of other people. Furnishings, in particular racial styles, require multiple style items associated with that race. You do not need to know a motive of a race to learn to craft their furnishing plans. Okay. Rosins, tempers, and tannins are often needed for green quality furnishings and higher. Each plan is unique, and a certain special plan is required. Custom ingredients be located and included. All plans, ingredients, and output items are tradable. So it's pretty much just like any other crafting thing. You can gather the resources and sell them to other people, which is, I guess, kind of cool. Housing permissions. This allows you to let players in your house as visitors, and also give them some homeowner permissions so that they can move items or place items and like readjust your items in your house, I guess, kind of thing. You can even ban specific individuals while allowing the rest of your guild access, just in case you want to hang out with most of your guildies, but Tony keeps spilling meat on your favorite rug, so. So you do get this option to place items and the housing permission. Housing achievements, there's new achievements for each thing, which is kind of cool. Sorry guys. Got this really weird allergy thing coming in right now. And it's really bugging me, so. This lists out all the prices. Some get really expensive, I'm not going to lie. Like the medium homes is where they really start climbing. And then you get into the large homes, and they're in the millions. And then if you get into the manors, they're 3.7 million. Pretty much 3.8 million. And 3.8. So you can say this is 3.7, but that close to being 3.8 million? Yeah, I just say much rather say that. So that's not bad, to be honest. I mean, I've seen other games that had housing where the prices got ridiculous after a while for certain things. And then we have Master Craft writs, which come with this update. So we're going to have housing writs, similar to the crafting writs, which is kind of cool. New motives. We did get new motives with this. Update 13 brings 4 new motives that you can collect. The Silken Ring style can be found in the Cradle of Shadows dungeon. The Mazatoon style can be found in the Ruins of Mazatoon. And then the Regatta can be found in Craglorn. So that's kind of cool. I'm glad they added Regatta to the styles that drop, because that was one they just recently sold. And the fact that you can get a Craglorn is also super beneficial. The Ebony style is one that you get from the Mastercraft Mediator guy that you purchase furniture from, and you can also learn writs or do the writs from. He has the thing where you can learn the Ebony style. Imperial City vendors have some were updated with Telvar Greater Lockbox merchants, and the Lockbox merchant has been updated to have different things. Also Telvar armor and Greater armor. So if you have Telvar stones and you want to trade them in for some of the stuff, you can do it. I will have a link to these notes in the description, so if you guys want to check them out for yourselves. The Cyrodiil vendors got some changes. I'm not going to go through all this stuff. Quest rewards from towns in Cyrodiil have been changes. Dungeon ready check. This is a kind of cool one. We've updated the dungeon finder for the way it forms groups. When the dungeon group is ready, you will no longer immediately be put in a group. Instead, all 4 members of the group will have to verify that they are ready for the dungeon. And this is for people that are AFKing and stuff. It's a really bad problem. I've had it happen to me several times where I've gotten into a dungeon group for running daily the daily dungeon stuff for the Undaunted, and get an AFK person, and it's horrible. So Razer Chroma support is now in the game, and in this episode we've added support for Razer Chroma devices. So if you have any Razer Chroma devices, they will now are updated to work with the game now. So that's kind of cool. The champion points, of course, are increased by another 39 points, making it a total of 600 points you can get. So it's 200 per tree now, which is pretty good. Cyrodiil champion changes, not really sure on this. The campaign Spellbreaker and Ebony Blade will be closing on the PC European Mega server. If you are currently assigned to those campaigns, you will receive a free reassign, and rewards will be granted out as if the campaign had ended naturally. Known issues for Homestead stuff, they do have some things there. They have some improvements for the Dark Brotherhood DLC pack. You guys can go through these, and of course this stuff. But what we're going to do now is we're going to head on down to the new additions being brought to the game. New changes and stuff like that. Here are some new changes, just so you guys can know. Adjusted area effect damage thresholds for all abilities. New thresholds are as follows. 1 to 6 enemies, it's 100% damage taken with all secondary effects applied. And then 7 to 24, it's 75%, and then 25 to 60 is 50%. This is more for Cyrodiil gameplay than it is for open world. But there is times in open world where you're fighting 7 to 24 enemies, and this 75% damage thing is a lot better than what it used to be, which was 50%. Reduce the amount of time required to exit combat with another character to 6 seconds without performing any hostile actions from 30 seconds. So they reduced that time to 6 seconds, which is going to be beneficial. I do want to look at this. Alright, so they did that to fix the AoE damage stuff. Alright. Ultimates, the ultimate, how much ultimate you can store has been reduced from 1,000 to 500. That's kind of a, sucky thing, but at the same time, not most ultimates don't even get close to needing 500 points to be used. So this is just a simple change to give us easier amount, I guess. I don't know. So let's see. They did some fixed issue sneak attacks. This is mostly Cyrodiil stuff, like I said right here. Created a new debuff category, minor magic steel. That's right. So we do have a new thing, by the way. We have minor magic steel and minor life steal now that they added to the game. They're going to replace a few abilities. Major evasion reduces the buff's category dodge chance to 15%, down from 20%. So if you're using major evasion on any of your skills, or you're using the evasion skill from the leather or medium armor, it has been reduced to 15%. Major force, this category's critical damage bonus is now an additive. It used to be a higher number. It's actually down reduced to 15% from 30%. Total critical damage bonus from this buff remains unchanged. Minor force reduced this buff's category critical from 12% to 10%. Minor lifesteal, this category is now a debuff applied to enemies instead of a buff applied to allies. It now restores a flat value of health to every attacker every second. 600 health every second at CP 160. And then there is the minor Magica Steel, which they don't mention in here anyway. Oh, right here. Creating a new debuff category, Minor Magica Steel. This debuff is applied to enemies that restores a flat value of Magica to the attacker every second. So when you apply this to them, it says the attacker. So I'm guessing it's just for you if you apply it to them. But there might, I don't know if it means other people as well. Now there was some changes made to Dragon Knight abilities. Ardent Flame, Burning Embers fixed an issue where the rank 4 of this morph was not allowing multiple Dragon Knights to apply damage over time, components at the same time. Increase the duration of Fiery Grips, Major Expedition buff granted by this ability, and its morphs to 6 seconds up from 2. So you'll get Major Expedition for 6 seconds. Then the ability can no longer be dodged in PvP. Inferno, Lava Whip, and Standard of Might all got some changes. This Inferno one is kind of a weird one. Because it says this fixed an issue where this ability and its morph will display the incorrect spell critical chance percentage of your character's UI after swapping weapons. Lava Whip increased the damage of this ability and its morphs by 5%, so that's kind of a nice one. And the Standard of Might one went down, which kind of sucks. The morph now increases your damage done and decreases your damage taken by 15%, while the standard standing inside the standard down from 20%. So now it's down to 15% instead of being that greater value. Draconic powers, Coagulated Blood. This is one a lot of people use. This morph now heals for a flat value, scaling with spell damage and max magicka with the heal, being increased by up to 33% based on the missing health. So this is a weird one now, because it used to be based on max health, and now it's based on max magicka. The morph no longer grants the minor vitality buff. It's green dragon blood that does now. It's kind of weird. So Dragon Blood, this ability can and its morphs can now critically strike. So that means it can critically heal you, which is super beneficial. They don't show the green Dragon Blood in this yet, so let's get to that. Dragon's Leap, the damage and knockback from this ability and its morphs can no longer be dodged. I guess that's a good thing, because a lot of people use this in PvP. Fixed an issue with this ability and its morphs were not granting the casting crowd control snare and immobilizing immunity while they were in mid-flight. This ability and its morphs can no longer be cast while immobilized. So that's another benefit, because I really hated those guys that jumped on me when I was in PvP after I had immobilized them. Ferocious Leap, which is Dragon Leap morph. This morph now deals flame damage instead of physical damage. Green Dragon's Blood. This morph now grants minor vitality buff as well as minor endurance. So this one gets the 20% health recovery and it gets the 8% healing received. So that's Green Dragon's Blood. So if you want to be a tank, this is a much better one to go with now. Hardened Armor increased the damage shield value granted with the morph to 15% of your max health from 10%. That's kind of a good one because I use that one. Iron Skin reduced the amount of additional damage you can block from rank 1 of this passive to 4% from 5%. Note that due to this percentage of calculations, the total damage blocked with this with the max rank is unchanged. Spiked Armor fixed an issue where the ability in its morph would deal their thorns damage when the attacker proc a disease or poison weapon enchantment on the Dragon Knight. That has been changed. Volatile Armor. Spiked Armor morph increases the damage over time component of this morph by approximately 20%. So it's going to do 20% more damage now with the damage over time. Earth and Heart Battle Roar significantly revised the passive's ability tooltip to more accurately describe the values of health, magic, and stamina it restores based on the ultimate's cost. Note the decimal values will be punctured to, or truncated, whatever, from the tooltip, so values restored may be slightly higher than described. Obsidian Shard fixed an issue where the morph would not fire the heal if the target blocked or absorbed the damage of the initial hit. I didn't know there was a heal on it. Stonefist increased the speed of the projectile fired by this ability in its morph to 100%, so that means that's going to be pretty cool because it's going to fire off a lot quicker. Nightblade changes Assassination. Deathstroke increased the cost of the ability in its morphs to 70 ultimate from 50. So this one is going to cost you a little bit more. It's a good deal. Sorry, but it is. Grim Focus. The Assassin's Will proc from this ability and Merciless Resolved morph now only scales with your spell damage and max magicka stats. Impale. Assassin's Morph Blade increase the range of the morph to 28 meters at rank 4 from 18 meters. So that's going to give it greater range. The Manifestation of Terror, Aspect Terror morph, the trap summoned by the morphs are no longer visible to the enemy player characters. The trap summoned by the morph can now fear 2 enemies instead of 1. Relentless Focus. The Grim Focus morph. The Assassin Scourge proc from this morph now only scales with your weapon damage and max stamina. The initial cast of the morph now costs stamina instead of magicka, and they fixed an issue where the Assassin Scourge proc from this morph was being mitigated off the target's spell resistance instead of their physical resistance. That's a kind of a bonus thing right there. Adjusted the order of active abilities in the shadow line, so Veiled Strikes, Shadow Cloak, Path of Darkness, Aspect of Terror, and Summon Shade is the new layout from what they were before. Path of Darkness increased the damage of the ability's Refreshing Path morph by 25%. That's a benefit to me as my healer uses that, so that will give me greater damage. Shadow Cloak fixed an issue where the invisibility from this ability and its morphs was being broken by certain abilities such as Teleport Strike, Dark Flare, and Weapon enchantments. Good to know. Summon Shade. The shade summoned by this ability and its morphs more closely match your racial appearance. For Argonian and Khajiit players, and now immediately aggro and attack your target if you cast this while you are out of combat. Okay, that's a good deal there. Twisting Path increased the damage of this morph by 32%. So this is the damage dealing path right here, by the way, for Path of Darkness. And that means the damage does 32% more, while for the healing path it does 25% more. That's pretty good. Siphoning's new changes. Soul Shred fixed an issue where Soul Leech synergy from this ability and its morphs could occasionally be healed based off of different sources of damage than itself. That's kind of a good thing, I guess. I don't really know, because I don't use a lot of Soul Shred, I don't think. And then Strife increased the cost of this ability in its morphs by approximately 38%. So those using Strife as a heal or heal over time, that has gone up 38%. So we won't be able to spam it to do the damage. Sorcerer, Dark Magic, in case, reduced the cost of this ability in its morph by approximately 6%. Daedric Summoning and adjusted the order of the active abilities in the skill tree. They now unlock in the following order. So we get Summon, Unstable Familiar, Daedric Curse, Summoned, Winged Twilight, Conjured Ward, and then Bound Armor. I don't like that they put Bound Armor in the end. I really don't. I think that's a stupid choice, personally, because I was working on getting that on my Sorc. Now I gotta go through the Winged Twilight, the Conjured Ward, and Bound Armor to get to the Bound Armor. Let's see, increase the physical and spell resistance of all Daedric summoning pets by 100%. So this is where the pets are getting their beef up in resistances, up to 18,200 resists at CP 160, up from 9,000 something. Bound Armor fixed an issue where toggling this ability and its morphs would dismount you. Okay. Daedric Curse, rebate fixed. Summon Storm and Turnot. Increase the damage dealt from this pet summoned by this ability and its morphs by approximately 25%. Okay, so this thing's going to hit like a truck now. Okay. Volatile Familiar. Increase the duration of this pet's special ability to 8 seconds from 4 seconds, causing it to pulse for 2 extra ticks of damage. Fixed an issue where the damage from this morph special ability was not being increased by Daedric Prey. Summon Winged Twilight, increase the health of this pet summon by this ability by 100% to... Okay, that's a lot of health it just got. Valacious Curse, rename the morph Haunting Curse. The morph no longer shortens the duration of the curse by 3.5 seconds. From 6 seconds instead, it causes the curse to explode a second time after an additional 8.5 seconds. So this time, this now will... basically explode twice over a longer period of time. I mean, come on. Storm Calling, Hurricane, Lightning Form morph. This morph now deals 10% more damage each tick, down from 15% more. Okay, this doesn't... They really need to, like, put this there and it's saying, hey, guess what? We decrease the damage to 10% damage instead of 15% damage each tick. The final tick does 150% damage, down from 225. See, this right here makes sense. This up here is like reading some alien language. Come on, people. Lightning Form fixed an issue where part of the value of the visual effects of this ability and its morphs were not being displayed correctly when it was recast. I hated that, honestly, when I was using it. So, basically what they're saying about Hurricane, by the way, is it deals 10% more damage each tick instead of 15%, and the final tick deals 150% more damage, down from 225. I mean, lay it out right, guys. Come on. Next up is the Templar changes, Binding Javelins. If you guys don't know what this is, it's just basically a throwing javelin. Fixed an issue with rank 3 of this morph, had 20-meter range instead of 28-meter range. Reduced the cost of this morph by approximately 20%. I guess it's beneficial if you use this ability, but not a lot of people do. I mean, reducing the cost of the morph is approximately... Okay. Biting Jabs. Reduce the cost of this morph by approximately 20%, so it's going to cost a lot less, which is good, because this thing costs a ridiculous amount. The damage from this morph can no longer be dodged. So that means if you're getting this thing spammed at you by Templars in PvP, it's going to suck now, because now they're going to be using it a lot more often. Expect to see this come into play in the regular game too, because they're going to be, I mean, 3 times as more spammy as they were before. Blazing Spear. Increase the duration of this morph to 8 seconds from 6 seconds, causing it to tick damage an additional 2 times. However, it no longer stuns the enemy when it first hits them. The ticking damage from this morph now has the same radius as the initial damage. Okay. Focus Charge. Increase the speed of the animation played by this ability in its morphs. Piercing Javelin. Increase the speed of the projectile fired by this ability and its morphs by 40%. Radial Sweep. The damage from this ability and its morphs can no longer be dodged. Well, that'll be nice when dungeons for me, because I use, you know, the morph of it, and I really hated when I'd see that dodge pop up. Spear Shards. Decrease the time it takes to for the spear from the ability and its morphs to land after being cast at the target location by... Alright, we're not even going to get into that. Now, this is some changes coming to Backlash. A lot of people don't use a lot of Backlash, so I'm going to go through this really, really quick. Increase the amount of copied damage by this ability in this morph to 20% from 18%. So it was 18% before, now it's 20%, which is going to be really awesome for those people using it, gaining that greater damage. Fix the issue where damage that was absorbed by the damage shield was not being copied. What in the heck? There is no damage shield on there. The initial damage and final damage dealt by this ability and its morphs can no longer be blocked. That's beneficial. There is one in here that says it can't critical either, and that kind of makes me mad. The final damage dealt by this morph can no longer critical strike and is no longer reduced from battle spirit. So this is more of a PvP thing, but that thing where it can no longer critical strike, that really affects those using it in dungeons. I was using it in dungeons because it could critical strike for up to 20%, that 50% more damage. So it hit for like 24k, and I like that. Now it's just going to hit for whatever the value is. It kind of sucks. The copy damage from this ability in its morphs is now increased by 50% against other player characters, reduced from 100%. Okay. Eclipse, this ability in the dark morph can now be placed on an unlimited amount of targets. That's a good thing. Thank you for doing that, because I would like to put that on more enemies. This ability and its morphs will now deal with area of effect damage even if the target dies. That's cool. Power of the Light, Backlash. Fixed an issue where this morph's damage was being mitigated by the target spell resistance instead of physical resistance. Sorry guys, just fist pumped that sucker because that's one I've been waiting for. Radiant Destruction decreased the damage of this ability and its morphs by approximately 21%. So that beam attack everyone loves to use is being reduced by 21%. Restoring Light, Healing Ritual. This ability and its morphs no longer heal the casting Templar for an additional 30%. Honor of the Dead, Rush Ceremony morph fixed an issue where the morph's refund bonus was not occurring if you healed the target above 75% health. Lingering Ritual renamed this morph to Hasty Prayer. The morph no longer applies to a small burst of healing after 8 seconds. Instead, it allows you to move and cast the ability at full speed. Okay, that's cool. I like that morph, I really do. Healing Ritual is a really good heal, but it had a cast time on it, so this Lingering Ritual will allow you to cast it because they're changing the name, but it'll be able to cast it while on the move. That's a good one right there, actually. Radiant Aura. This morph now increases the radius of minor Magicka Steel to 28 meters. Okay. Restoring Aura. Redesign the ability and the Radiant Aura morph so the player can grant minor recovery buffs, fortitude, endurance, and intellect while slotted. Activating this ability also now applies minor Magicka Steel to all enemies in a 12-meter radius around you. So you apply that Magicka Steel when you cast it, giving you a way to heal or bring that magic into yourself. That's nuts. Ritual of Rebirth. This morph no longer decreases the cast time of the ability by 0.2 seconds. Instead, it now fires an additional single target heal after the cast is complete to one ally outside the ability's normal radius. That's kind of cool. Weapon changes. Now this is the area that really kind of has me going why. Adjusted the order of active abilities in the skill line. They now unlock the following order: Uppercut first. Really? That makes no sense to change two-handed where Uppercut is first. Critical Charge and then Cleave. I mean, Uppercut is like the most spammed ability by players in the game who use two-handed, and you're going to now make it to where they just spam it right from the get-go. Critical Charge, then Cleave. Cleave should have always been at the first. If you wanted to do something, you could have changed Uppercut, with maybe Reverse Slash. I would have been happy with that change, personally, but I don't like this layout. I think it sucks. One-handed and shield. Power Bash fixed an issue where this ability and its morphs could not proc weapon enchantments or poisons. I'm glad they did this change because it did kind of suck that Power Bash wouldn't get any of the procs from the weapon. So if you had like fire, like when you deal damage, you have a chance of doing fire damage or lightning damage. Now you can use it with Power Bash, which is awesome. Well, on the weapon, that's what I mean. You can get that on the weapon enchantment. So if it has fire on there or poison, you can bash them and do fire damage. I'm glad they added that. Shield Wall fixed an issue where this ability and its morphs were no longer were not blocking all secondary effects with blockable monster attacks. That's a good thing. Thank you for fixing that. Now we have better reasons to tank with Sword and Board. Dual Wield adjusted an order of active abilities in the skill line. They now follow in this order. So now you get Flurry first instead of Twin Slashes, then Whirlwind, then Blade Cloak, then Hidden Blade. Okay. All animations for Lacerate and their effects now display properly when using the ultimate. I didn't know they didn't. Shrouded Daggers reduce the cost of this morph to match its base ability, Hidden Blade. I'm kind of glad that they do make these changes for certain things. I really am. Especially that Shrouded Daggers. Adjusted the order of active abilities in the skill line, and this they now unlock the following order. Snipe first. Okay. We're not even going to get into that one. Not even going to mention it. And they move Poison Arrow to the last one. I'm not even going to say that word. Hawkeye, increase the amount of time this passive ability can stack to 5 times from 3. It continues to increase the damage with bow abilities by 2 to 5% per stack. So that means you'll be able to stack 5 times, so 25% more damage with multiple light and heavy attacks. So the more light and heavy attacks you do, the greater damage you can make your abilities do. Yeah. Increase the duration of the buff granted by this passive to 5 seconds from 4 seconds. So now, every time you do a light attack or a heavy attack, you have 5 seconds to do another one to keep stacking up that damage. Rapid Fire, this bow ability, bow and arrow used for this ability will now point in the same direction. Okay, so they just fixed that minor thing. Destruction Staff changes. Now this is where things get a little weird, guys, okay? Because a lot of people didn't expect these changes, especially with this. Adjusted the order of active abilities in the skill line. They now unlock in the following order. Force Shock first, Wall of Elements, Destructive Touch, Weakness of Elements, and then Impulse. The Force Shock thing, I don't know if it needs to be on the forefront, but hey, whatever works for you guys. Cool. Elemental Storm fixed an issue where this ability and its morphs could occasionally cause the ground target reticle to become stuck and prevent you from using the ability. Reduce the damage of this ability and its morphs by 5%, and reduce the damage done by the ability and Eye of the Storm morph by 10%. The damage from Elemental Rage remains the same. So, okay. Ancient Knowledge, if you guys don't know what this one was, it used to reduce the casting time, now has some changes. Fire Stabs increase your single target damage dealt by 4 to 8%. Frost Stabs increase the amount of damage you can block by 10 to 20% and reduce your block cost by 15 and 30%. Those are at the point changes, so it's 20% reduced, or the amount of damage you can block, and then it reduces the cost by 30%, which is equivalent to a shield, by the way, almost. Lightning Staff increase the area of effect damage dealt by 8%. Elemental Drain. This morph no longer restores a flat value of magicka whenever you deal flame frost, shock, and shock damage, but instead it applies minor magicka steel to them. Elemental Ring. This morph no longer adds a small damage over time component to this ability. Instead, it allows you to cast the ability at a ground target location up to 28 meters away. So that one, it makes it movable. Force Shock. This ability and its morphs can no longer be reflected. Beam type attacks cannot be reflected but are able to be blocked. Now this is where things get really cool, in my opinion. Trifocus. This ability... this passive ability now taunts an enemy after use a fully charged frost attack. The passive ability now causes your block and drain magicka instead of stamina, and stops your magicka recovery. So it's just like using a shield. It's just that instead of using magicka or stamina to block, it uses magicka, and that's only with the frost staff. It doesn't work with the fire or the lightning staff. You still block with those and it still costs you stamina. With ice staff, it gives you that. Restoration staff changes. Force Siphon. This ability and its morphs no longer heal you for a flat of a value of health whenever you deal damage. Ooh, excuse me. Instead, they apply minor lifesteal to the target. So now when you hit with Force Siphon, it puts minor lifesteal on them, which is kind of good. Regeneration. Fixed an issue where this ability and its morphs were not correctly prioritizing low health characters that did not already have the heal over time applied. And then Siphon Spirit. This morph no longer restores 1% max magicka when you deal damage to the target. Instead, it applies magicka steal. So that's kind of cool. Having armor changes. This one has me kind of pissed, by the way. Rapid Mending. This passive now increases the amount of resources your heavy attacks restore by 25% at 12 and 25% from 50%. So now we only get 25% of our max resource back when we do a heavy attack, which it used to be 50%. So that kind of has me irritated, because now I want to use a resto staff on my bar, so I can get those my magicka back from my magicka staff caster person. And for my stamina guy, I'm not really worried because she gets a lot of resources back anyways. But also kind of mad about this one too. This passive, the Wrath passive. This passive now increases your weapon and spell damage by 5 to 10 per point. So if you put 1 point, you get 5. 2 points gives you 10 for each stack, and down from 20. But it's now stacks up to 20 times, up from 10, and it reduced the duration of the passive to 5 seconds from 6 seconds. So now it'll stack 10 weapon damage or spell damage a total of 20 times instead of 20 weapon damage 10 times, and it used to last for 6 seconds, now it lasts 5. So getting that, a lot of that weapon damage is going to be really hard, but you're still going to get 200 weapon damage. It's just going to be a lot harder now, especially when a lot of people relied on this when they were in dungeons and stuff. I know a lot of people relied on it in Cyrodiil, and that's why they nerfed it. That's understandable, but you ruin it for a lot of other people's too in dungeons. World skill changes. Soul Magic, Soul Strike removed. Yeah, this whole math thing with the 350 milliseconds changes. Don't even, just say it's this, amount. It'd be a lot easier. So, Vampire Clouding Swarm. This morph no longer causes your character to pulse invisibility every second and inactive. It is active. Instead, activating the swarm now allows you to use the ability again to instantly teleport to an enemy up to 22 meters away and deal high damage. The teleport can be used as many times as possible within the swarm's duration. Okay. Werewolf Pursuit fixed an issue where this passive's ability was being removed when the character died. Rousing Roar increased the duration of major brutality buff provided by this morph to 23 seconds from 5 seconds in total. So now this will actually last you a decent amount of time when you do it, by the way. Fighters Guild, I'm glad for this change. Thank you for finally doing something with Circle of Protection, because it kind of sucked to use before. Now it's actually going to be reasonable to use, because now it's going to have a duration of 20 seconds instead of 10 seconds. Rearming Trap decreased the damage done by each trap summoned from this morph by 30%. So this morph for Rearming Trap, if you guys are using it, now does lower damage. Turn Undead Circle increased the duration of this morph to 24 seconds from 12 seconds. So this one's going to have a greater duration than Circle of Protection, but it still does the same things. I mean, it still gives you that 8% damage reduction, which is really good. Mage's Guild Balance, the Equilibrium morph increased the duration of major resolve and major ward buffs granted by this morph to 20 seconds up from 4. So if you guys are looking for another way of getting that, but it does cause your healing received to be also increased. So that healing received is going to last 20 seconds as well. I think it's 20 seconds or it's 15 or something. Fire Ruin increased the initial damage done by this ability by approximately 11%. Mage Light activating this ability with Restoration Staff equipped will no longer break its animations. Fixed an issue where the permanent major proficiency ability and its morph was removing a temporary source of major proficiency. Okay. Scalding Ruin, Fire Ruin morph. Increase the damage over time component of this morph by an additional 33%. I'm kind of glad by that, personally. Next up, we have Blood Altar and Trapping Webs. I'm not... this just applies minor lifesteal now to all enemies, and then Trapping Webs morph would critically strike based on the spell critical instead of weapon critical, and now it's being changed to weapon critical, so that's kind of a good one. Alliance War changes is the Emperor thing. Monarch fixed an issue where this passive ability was only increasing the healing received from your own heals instead of all heals. Okay. Support changes, revealing Flare, reduced the cost of this ability and its morph by 50%. Stalwart Guard fixed an issue where the permanent minor force buff from this morph was removing other temporary sources of minor force. Champion point systems. The Anorak and the Lady are getting some changes to certain abilities. Reposit fixed an issue where this champion ability was triggering 100% of the time when you blocked a melee attack instead of 15% of the time. I don't know where this 100% of the time was happening. I'd like to know, guys, because it never happened to me. It still was under this effect for me. Unchained, this ability now reduces the cost of a single stamina ability by 80% for 5 seconds instead of reducing the cost of all stamina abilities used within 3 seconds by 80%. This one's going to hurt some people, but I do think it's a good change, personally. A few Dark Anchor changes, some monster changes, monster ability changes, and stuff like that. That's kind of cool, blah, blah, blah. We'll just jump right through it. Crafting and economy changes. Crafters rejoice if you have access to the craft bag ESO Plus. You can now deconstruct items and refine materials even when your inventory is full. So you will still be able to do that now, even when your inventory is full. The Keen Eye visual effect will now fade out more smoothly when you're out of range. Shipments for refined materials, crafting, blah, 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 blah. Sorry, going through this stuff. Provisioning, Psych, Ambrosia, and Mythic Ethereal Ambrosia can now be used while moving. That's kind of a beneficial thing. That could have been done a long time ago. Adjusted the health bonus of Witches' Festival food and drink to ensure they give 10% more health and health recovery than they do the equivalent of stamina or magicka bonuses. Survey reports fixed an error preventing enchanting and alchemy survey reports from being distributed properly, leading you to being consistently sent to single locations. That's a good thing. Crown store and crown crates adjustment stuff. I'm not really worried about that. Personality changes. Let's see. Dungeon content changes. Not really a lot in there. Exploration and itemization. This is kind of interesting. Fixed an issue that caused heavy sacks to appear more often than intended in certain public dungeons. I'm not really like understanding that because I still only found like 1 or 2 heavy sacks per dungeon, public dungeon. So if you guys can point out where we were getting more than that, where and what public dungeons, would have been nice to know. Fixed an issue that causing bottles and cups in the world to drop twice as many drinks as intended in certain areas. That's a good thing because I hated getting some of those, and I'd go to get like a water skin or something, and they have like 20 of them. I mean, no offense, I don't need 20 of them. I only need like 5 or 6, but 20 would be nice. Corrected several types of various books from Shalodor's library and this achievement's name and description. Thank you for fixing that. Updated mode of books, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Itemization. Alright, so that's kind of cool. They made the prismatic weapon from Fighters Guild Quest. It's really like towards the end. Now it's bind on equip instead of bind on pickup, so we will be able to sell those now to other players. That'll be good. Fixed an issue with item sets, including those found in vendors from capturing towns in Cyrodiil, where sourcing blah blah blah. Monster itemization. Item sets. Item set procs which deal damage or healing can no longer critical strike. So any item set you have will no longer critical strike if it did damage or it did any kind of healing. So if you're using Vipers, it will no longer critical strike, but it will still hit for the amount of damage it says. And that damage can be increased based on your max, your champion points. So if it says poison damage, you can increase the damage through your poison damage. It just won't critical strike anymore. So you can still get a decent amount of damage out of it, but not a whole lot more. And then fixed an issue with various aura ball sets from the different things were where they were not applying their bonus correctly if a weapon swap was being used and, while using the weapons of those sets. Fixed an issue where some item set procs were meant to fire off fully charged heavy attacks such as Thunder Flame and Wise Mage were firing off every tick of a lightning or restoration staff heavy attack. Oh. So because these are channeled attacks, it was ticking every channeled attack. They just removed it for that. Okay, so it just and now it just ticks on the very last one. Armor of the Trainee reduced max magicka, stamina, and health granted from of this set down to 1250 from 2500. So these won't give as much now, but they're still going to be good for those people who want to run the tri-stat set that you pick up on the starter islands. So there's a couple other changes. Black Rose, this item's 4-piece bonus now grants max magicka instead of max stamina. This item set now increases the maximum magicka or stamina restored by Constitution passive by 35%, down from 40%. Now, I just want you guys to understand what this change means. It means that this set will work better for a magicka-based person than a stamina-based person. So, yeah, pretty cool. Chokethorn, the Strangler summon by this set, now despawns when it dies instead of just sitting there flopping around. Desert Road has increased this item's set's proc chance to 15% from 10, but also increased its cooldown to 4 seconds from 1 second. Alright. Got some other fixes in here. Dreamer's Mantle fixed an issue where this item's set proc could trigger before you fell down to 35% health. Okay. Engine Guardian, the Dwemer Sphere summoned by this item's proc set spawns when it expires. This is all monster set stuff, by the way. Or just different sets, because Noble's Conquest, this item set's proc now applies minor vulnerability to the target instead of a generic damage taken buff. But the duration of minor vulnerability has been increased to 10 seconds from 5. I am getting me some Noble's Conquest, by the way. I've been wanting to use that set on one of my mage tanks in light armor, because I'll craft it in light armor and I'll get that. That's cool. Sorry. Scourge Harvester, this item set's now proc Major Vitality instead of the generic buff category healing received bonus. So this one will put Major Vitality on you, or on the person, increasing their healing received by 8% instead of giving them just increased health recovery. So that's a really good one, I think. Personally, I think that's a good change. I do want to talk about this Hisbark fixed an issue where major evasion proc granted by this item could become permanently applied if in rare circumstances. This is such a rare circumstance, I'm not kidding you. It was like incredibly rare for it to be applied like that. So yeah, a lot of good changes coming through, it looks like, on some of these sets. Tremor Scale reduced the damage done by this item's set's proc approximately by 10%. Despite it, that's good. Could trigger twice. Ooh. Farron's Legacy, Viper's Sting. Alright. Got some general things here. Many books that were inaccessible after the associated quests are now able to be found in the world. In addition, you can now read most books while in combat or in stealth. That's cool. So these are just quest changes, by the way, and changes done to the content of the game. We're just going to go through those, kind of skip over those UI changes. Not really interested in too many UI changes personally, because it doesn't do that much. And that's it, guys. So that's all the patch notes. I mean, I did skim through a lot of these. I did cover the ones that I felt were most important. I mean, the monster sense is pretty cool and stuff like that. The item set changes, you know, kind of need to know that stuff. Itemization isn't really popular, you know, kind of thing to read through. These changes to the different things in dungeons, which wasn't really much. And it was really just the class changes and, you know, to the morphs and stuff and all these other things that really are more prevalent than some of these other changes. Even though I have read through these completely from end to end myself, learning as much as I can about the different changes, and that's why I kind of mentioned just the ones I did, because those are the ones that a lot of people want to hear about, is mostly like class changes. They want to hear about those things. But I am excited about this to launch today. I can't wait. It should be up here pretty soon. We'll go up to the top. We'll just refresh the page so you guys can see for yourself. the changes being done. I don't even know I had that open. Oh, I know. I was answering a reply to something. So we'll just go all the way to the top. I won't waste my time. I'll just jump up there, and we will go ahead and refresh the page and see if the servers are open. That is complete. So if you guys want to get in the game now, you can get in game. The servers are up and running, and you can go get yourself a house and check out some of these changes. But I just thought I'd do a patch notes video for you guys, so you guys had that information. And that's it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and slap that like button. It'd be greatly appreciated. If you guys want to see more videos by me, you can hit that like button. Or hit the subscribe button and be able to watch my videos whenever I post them. I do post videos on a daily basis, so that's another benefit to being subscribed to me. I do not post on the weekends, though, so don't, except for Saturday maybe. But Saturday and Sunday I don't, because I do have kids in my life that I do spend time with. That's also why I record during the day and not in the evening. So that's it, guys, for now. I do want to thank you for joining me. Till next time, have a wonderful day, and I will see you all later.